Good morning. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. It's Victoria Lorien Fabish. How's it going, everybody? Wow, nice to see everybody. I'd like to have a few people come on, and I'm going to share my my live chat here with you all. But I wanted you to have a little moment where you're, really, where we're really sort of digging into, when the message is lost in the medium. But let me do a little sharing right now, and then I'll wait for a few people to come on. And let me know you're here when you're here. Let me know you're here when you're here. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Let's have a few more people come on. I would love to be able to have some chats with some people, but also really looking at communication style. And my journey with it, along with the variety of journeys that I've seen people have with communication, and it's not an easy journey, but it is an important journey when people are. Hi there, Marguerite. Hi there, Jennifer. Great to see people coming on. But let's talk about communication and your valid message. Is your valid message getting lost in your delivery style? And I can't tell you, I myself, being the strong personality that I am, my journey is definitely working on, just turn this a tiny bit because the backlight, my journey is definitely about lowering or about working on harsh communication. Sometimes I want to be direct, I want to be clear, I want to be boundaried, but it can come across as harsh. And so my valid message is lost in the way I'm delivering it. And it's been a journey for me for my life. And certainly these past number of years, as I'm communicating with more and more people, this has definitely been something that I myself, work with. And people say, well, don't give an F about what other people think. But I got to tell you, when we're building rapport, when we're building a sense of community, when we're building, communication, community, fellowship, I'm going to tell you that how we deliver our information, and certainly I have discovered this myself, how I deliver the information, the tone, the harshness, the delivery methodology, the way it's being said, it needs to be in a disciplined way. And there's no way around the mountain. If you want to be in connection with people, if you want to be in community with people, your delivery is important. Your delivery and how you put the information out there needs to be troubleshot and worked on. And also, I got to tell you, I cannot tell you how many people I work with, either coaching, psychotherapy, whatever it is that I'm doing, who have valid information, but they come in going, I'm so angry, they say. And the anger is what's coming through, not the boundary, for example, a classic case study would be someone saying, hey, can you do this for me? Or can you, some request that there is from the other person. I'd really like you to do this for me. This would really be important to me for you to do this to me. This needs to happen, whether it be pick up stuff at the grocery store or, stop walking into my room unannounced or whatever it may be. And the other person says, why are you so angry? As opposed to, I heard what you said and I want you to, and I'm going to listen to what you're saying. And the person says to me, I didn't deliver that in an angry way. And I said, okay, so tell me exactly how you delivered it. I said, I want you to stop this and that and the other. And you always this and that and the other. You do this and you do that and you're all about this. And I really want you to do this. And I really need this because you're this and you're that and you're this. I have a right, and then they say to me, I have a right to my boundary, and I have a right to tell them what it is that I need and want, and I am going to continue to say that. I'm like, okay, what you need and want is not the problem. The boundary is not the issue. The desire for something is not the problem. None of this is a problem. But if you begin a sentence with you versus I, we have a problem. I had someone the other day say to me, tell me about the story of their life, and they were saying that they were analyzing the person they were talking to. I know why you do this. You do this because of this and this and this, and you do this because you want to be a show off, and you. And she's like, I'm correct. I'm correct in saying this. This is definitely an assessment. I see a repetitive pattern, and I need to call this person on it. In this case, it was her spouse. And I said, how did that go over? Well, he just walked out of the room. Can you believe that he does not respect me and he keeps just walking out of the room because he does not listen to me? He never listens to me. Okay. You know, what she was saying originally was not wrong. She probably was correct. She gave me lots and lots of facts as to how this is true. Her assessment was not wrong. Absolutely. However, when you deliver information, when you begin the sentence with you are more likely to enter into an accusatory tone. So discipline of speech would be you've got to think about, not just be impulsive in your speech, in saying, so I'm feeling really dismissed when you do this. And I feel that we are really not building our relationship because I observe these types of behaviors, but I could be wrong, but this is what I'm observing, and it's causing me to feel really sad and really rejected or whatever it may be. I'm not giving you the exact words, but I am giving you a softening of a tone and an I format. I'm feeling this, and I'm thinking this, and I'm wanting this, and what I'm observing is this, and what I notice is this, and I could be wrong, but this is what I'm seeing. This is the kind of stuff that people need to, you know, I see this every day in couples therapy and people who are breaking up. And John Gottman, who is the father of couples therapy, and by the way, all of this can be applied to friendships, can be applied to business partnerships, can be applied to just any relational connection that people have. The most important trait in keeping a long-term connection with someone in a positive fashion is friendship. And you don't talk to friends in accusatory ways. A lot of people I observe, and by the way, as I said at the beginning of this broadcast, is that I myself am working on my own harsh communication, because harsh communication sometimes in family of origin is what we learn as the only way we're going to get heard. So we got to kind of breathe the fire to really get heard. Unfortunately, in adult interrelationship connectiveness, unfortunately, that does not, that really does not get you what you want, you know. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And thanks for everyone for tuning in. And certainly, you know, share it because this is good information for other people. But I would say that there's such an opportunity in every interaction to check your own, what you're putting out there. And here's something that you really want to see. Do you have, you know, anger and resentment that you've been holding for a long time and not expressing, and you are just so tired, whether it be because you're not sleeping well or because life is too busy or you're stressed out, and you have no ability to contain your anger. And so that stuff is just coming out, just whipping out, and you're like, I mean, I can't tell you how often I hear people say, I'm too tired to be disciplined in my speech. Okay, that is your assessment here. But if you're too tired to be disciplined in your speech, you will have the same result every time. You will come across as angry. You will come across as accusatory. You will come across as not giving the other person a chance to take in your information and process your information, in which they don't feel like I got to be defensive. Because dollars to donuts, every time you start a sentence with you this and you that, the other person is defense. What do you mean? I don't have to explain myself to you. You know, you've heard that fight before, you know. Don't speak to me that way. You know, so suddenly it's about your tone, not about what you're trying to actually validly express, which is, you know, I would appreciate it if when you go to the grocery store, you pick up food for both of us, not just for yourself. That's an act of consideration, you know, or, you know, I would appreciate it if you don't park in my parking spot every time you come here. This is what I'm observing. Or, you know, it would really be helpful to me if you would park not in my spot. These kinds of things versus you always park in my spot. You never pick up food for me. Why, what happens is that you're trying to harm me, or you're trying to hurt me, or you're doing this to make yourself look good, whatever it is. Whatever it is. I'm just giving you examples of things that I hear very, very often. And it's very angry. And I would encourage people, and this is the human experience, is how to balance yourself sufficiently so that your speech is not constantly coming from a bunch of anger that is not been expressed and is just exploding on the scene. And if you're doing this in the home, if this is happening in the home, this is problematic, because I got to say, let's be really honest with you. This is the stuff that kids hear and then they just repeat it. Also, if you're doing this in front of teenage kids, they're just going to disrespect you just as much as possibly your partner is. Or if you're doing this, anytime you're doing this, you're basically affecting the next generation. And you're creating a family culture in which the communication is unsafe. Emotionally unsafe communication will cause nervous systems to be on alert and will more likely create problems like depression, anxiety in families, in children, in teenagers. So there's a far-reaching domino effect to undisciplined speech. And so this is why whenever I'm working with couples, I'm working with the discipline of speech. I want people to listen to understand versus listen to respond. So often we're listening to just respond and to get one up on that conversation. But listen to understand what's being said, or what's being... So if someone is saying, if someone becomes defensive with what you're saying, you need to go, okay, I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. Not okay to speak to you that way. So let me apologize for that. Not however, because usually however is like an excuse, but I also want to address what it is that I'm trying to say to you, which is I really don't feel okay with the fact that I don't feel like you consider me in certain things, as an example. You got to own your part in it, or the other person is always going to feel emotionally unsafe with you. And there is such healing that occurs, very immediate healing that occurs when a person who's been aggressive or harsh in their communication and saying, hey, I'm sorry I was harsh, and I'm working on my harshness, or I'm working on my aggressiveness, or whatever it may be, or my way of communicating. And so that just calms everything down. Again, don't take my word for it. Experiment with this if this is a problem you're having. And when we have a valid message that we want to relay to our partner, to our friend, to our coworker, whatever it may be, I had someone say the other day, my coworker is always eating really loudly, and I'm about to explode on him. Like, hold on, don't be doing that, because number one, you can remove yourself and eat somewhere else, and number two, it's not going to go over well for the office culture if you're exploding on your coworker. It's never going to go over well when you're harsh, when you're explosive, or anything like that. And to me, the only way to really, really affect constructive connection and emotional safety is to own your harsh tone immediately and work on the defensiveness that shows up there, because often people who are delivering things in harsh tones are also themselves very defensive and touchy and, overly boundaried. It's important to be boundaried, but not overly boundaried, in which your tone and your delivery is defensive and angry. And then all of the valid information is lost in the delivery. And this don't forget, affects multi-generationally, affects the teenagers in the house, the kids that are listening, because then they go, oh, I can speak to my mom or my dad that way, or I can speak to my friends that way, I can speak to my coworkers that way, I can speak to my whomever, my teachers that way. And then it becomes a real, embroiled mess that is passed on multi-generationally. And what gets me up in the morning is stopping the multi-generational dysfunction, essentially. So work on speaking from the I perspective. I feel, I notice, I am sensing, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm disappointed, But take responsibility for your feelings. It's not like blaming the other person for your feelings either, but at least you're owning that I feel X, Y, Z, and I really would appreciate it if you X, Y, Z. And usually that will be received with less defensiveness. And now, let me just say that if you're saying it in these ways, and you could say it in the most perfect way, and the person is still defensive and still disrespectful and still walking out, or saying, what do you mean? I never did that. Or, and yet there's evidence that they did, then you got to watch that there's a gaslighting situation going on. And gaslighting is when it's evident that something is happening, but the person denies it. No, you're crazy. You're the crazy one. So caution, what I'm saying is really work on your delivery, and often you will have a more successful interrelational communication with the other person, and there will be more emotional safety. However, at times there is true dysfunction in the person you're trying to communicate with, and they're denying everything and they're defensive of everything, and then you got to reevaluate the whole relationship because there's no ownership on anybody's part. But I hope this helps, because this is something that people should be thinking about, or could be thinking about when it comes to the communication aspect, where they want to affect change, they want to draw boundaries, but they're doing it in an accusatory, angry way, and the valid message is lost. So I hope this helps. I am looking to have these kinds of conversations be positive and also informative for you to take them into your real life. So I'm going to sign off and tell you, keep communicating in a positive way. Watch for your anger, watch for your negativity, and speak from the I format, and listen to understand versus listening to respond. Have a fantastic day, and stay tuned for another courageous conversation coming at you next week. All right, Tuesday. All right, have a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant day, and be nice to yourself and others, and keep having courageous conversations. Blessings and light. Bye for now.